and get my presentation back. What did people think about that?
I'll quickly jump in specifically about the reuse one. I was really excited by that program. Right now, South St. Paul has 1 or 2 cleanup days that we participate in, but we don't have, anything specifically about building materials. And that's something that I think would be a huge resource to our community. We've got a lot of older homes and we've got a lot of folks that want to renovate their homes, but, maybe don't have the funding or the materials that they're looking for. And this is such an awesome opportunity, to connect South St. Paul and the surrounding communities. And I'd love to see Dakota County offer something like this because I think it's a phenomenal opportunity.
Also seeing Dakota County offer material swaps and gardening tool swaps. I happen to see that on social media. I think you're already part of the way there. So
I think this could be the cherry on top,
Exactly. Matt? Oops.
Yeah, I got thinking how that this event could be a nice stepping stone to then doing what Becker County is doing. Otherwise, introducing people to these possibilities, showing officials how useful it can be, and then saying, hey, how about if we scale this up as well?
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. Dominique is saying, I know that many people in the community would jump at a chance to have access. I absolutely agree. And for particularly counties or cities that might have community involvements, a recycling ambassador program, a master recycling program, any sort of climate resiliency board or team, I think initiatives like this could be organized by community members with perhaps limited government assistance. And so I see real strong possibilities for even a very small pilot project, an hour or two occurring. And I believe, did I see Matt spoke? Olivia, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I was just going to echo that this was a great event to be involved with, and we'd love to revisit St. Louis Park and other cities who might be interested in replicating this in the future. We'd be happy to help coordinate and be a partner in the same way. I know it's been tricky with COVID, and the counties had some pretty strict COVID event policies, but I'm hopeful that in the next few months that will change and we'll be able to host similar events like that. So if there's any interest in that, please let me know.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think the potential for partnership is really, really strong for those on the call and for those that will probably be viewing this later. So I just wanted to highlight a couple other successes that we don't necessarily have speakers or time for speakers about, but we do have, I agree, people would like to see reuse opportunities versus keeping them kind of locked up in storage. I would say that old schools is another perhaps challenging but very, very frequent type of building that we have in big and small towns alike. And in Cloquet and Winona, there's other examples out there, but these two cities do actually have housing within old schools. And this was shared from Rethos. They are, again, a very great resource for lots of information. But you can see where people are visioning not only trying to solve the problem of what to do with old buildings, but also to solve the problem of what to do with a lack of housing. And so being able to re-envision any building for different purposes is something that will take some time, but also requires us to see examples in the past. Here you go. Old courthouse is being used for residential lofts. And there are a lot of people who would love to live in a unique building. And anything that's not a house or an apartment complex would be possibly considered a unique building. So I think the possibilities are endless as we have our building stock starting to age. But buildings can age in place too. Very, very quickly, I want to let you know that there's 5 college students at the University of Minnesota who are actually working on a capstone project to assess the end of life of a building on campus, of a real building, but with a fictitious sort of end of life of it, to compare not only the cost and time of different building material management methods, such as renovation, deconstruction, or demolition, saved or lost, and other sort of non-tangible, non-financial costs or savings for managing a building. This particular building was built as a cattle barn in 1907 and renovated in 2007 into this Student Alumni Learning Center. And they are actually presenting their final project 2 weeks from yesterday. So a lot of developments have been happening with a lot of great partners giving information about what it costs for deconstruction, demolition, renovation, but also what it took to either preserve or lose potential materials. So for those of you in Minnesota, we'll be talking about this a bit more. And just real quickly, going back to the hard to vision a bank turned into something else. Well, Monica demonstrated that you can do that in South St. Paul, turn it into housing. And in St. Cloud, you can turn a bank into a children's museum. Don't have much time to cover that. I did see that there was something in the St. Cloud Times. Thanks, Anne Marie, for that article. I did read it. But people are able to turn old buildings that might have had a fairly unique use into something new. So quickly, what you can do. Riley did talk about the deconstruction workshops. If you go to rethos.org, rethos.org, you can sign up for those free workshops. And a few people who are on this call will be presenting at those. Thanks, Anne Marie, for including that link. These deconstruction workshops are just an amazing start to what we hope is deconstruction training, full-blown workforce development training in the future. Still a hope, still something we're working towards collectively, but we have speakers, we have the interest, we have a huge demand in people wanting to have things deconstructed. We actually think some of the limiting factors is the workforce development. So answering that particular challenge is one thing we're working on. Really, 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 really excited to let you know that there is a brand new tool for you to promote the sustainable built environment organizations in your city or jurisdiction. It's the Reuse Ecosystem Map, and that term is specifically used for the built environment. It was created through a partnership with folks from the National Build Reuse opportunity, and yes, we'll get that link in Rethos's website listed, I believe. But this particular map is now live. It's going to have a, I don't know, grand opening, a virtual grand opening early May to coincide with some reuse events that are happening across the nation. But you can list the organizations, thanks Noel, you can list the organizations that are dedicated to building material reuse, deconstruction, training and education, workforce development, government entities. A lot of you can list yourselves. But this tool is meant to have a nationwide, actually a North American-wide, consistent system for organizations. So list the reuse companies and organizations and nonprofits and for-profits that are in your community. There are a few already listed on the Minnesota map. I've been trying to get more and more because I have a list of 100 myself that I want to include. And now I'll have a little bit of time after this workshop to do so. But this particular tool is meant to be a consistent tool for anybody to use in a local government to a national North American perspective. So check it out, and it's pretty easy. You can list one company or organization, or you can suggest edits to another, and please share this tool. We'll be sharing this information much more broadly in the next couple of weeks. Here in Minnesota, similar to this workshop, we do have quarterly meetings to talk about the latest developments within the built environment. We focus it on Minnesota, just like today's workshop, but we do allow anyone anywhere to join us, and we do have a small section of time dedicated to developments happening outside of Minnesota. So to learn about all of these things, I encourage you to sign up for our newsletter. I'm hoping that Kristen or Annika can share the link for this in our chat, but we send out monthly newsletters to a wide audience connected to the built environment. And we're just about to hit 2,500 subscribers, so we're getting more and more people interested in what is going on. And we learn just as much from others, from partners, as we give information. And so it's been so rewarding to make these connections and learn what others are doing. I'm a huge believer, and others are too, to not reinvent the wheel / fill in blank analogy. Why not support each other and copy each other's successes? So at this time, I know there's not a lot of time for questions, but and I know that a lot of questions have been asked and answered throughout this particular workshop without much time off for breathing or bathroom breaks. Are there additional questions at this point? Or comments or successes that you'd like to share? So this is kind of an open forum opportunity for all participants. And if you can't take yourself off mute, raise your hand or put next in chat. Thanks for that compliment. Was this workshop helpful for you?
Melissa, well, just saying this is a great, super helpful workshop. I've got a lot of resources that I've been taking notes on, so look forward to bringing this back to the city.
Fantastic. And like I said, we'll have a recording for this available a bit later so that folks that couldn't watch either the whole thing or any of it are able to take a look at it. And I do actually have one more Menti slide. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked earlier. Now that you've heard from a number of great speakers and had a chance to kind of think about how these goals and plans overlap with sustainable built environment initiatives, what word or phrase comes to mind now when you think about the term the built environment? And just like before, feel free to suggest multiple phrases. Repurposing, savings, reinvent, redevelop, potential. I like that one for sure. Circular economy, innovation. Yeah, community. Love it. New. Fun. Oh, yeah. Infrastructure. Important to everything. Y'all making me happy. Well, I thank you all for your time today. And I just feel like this has been a really great opportunity for us to hear from some wonderful speakers and to get a chance to learn more about how successes in the built environment are happening. And I just want to say thank you for all of the great speakers today, that this was just a wonderful opportunity to learn from people who are implementing successes, people who are taking over programs where successes have been created and where people can utilize their community and the people who care very deeply about these initiatives to further a lot of different sustainability goals. So again, we talked in terms of how climate resiliency and the built environment overlap, and how much of an impact for carbon emissions and carbon plans that the built environment really has a focus on. How using and reusing materials within your community not only supports those that reuse those materials, but future developers, future homeowners, residents, community members. How a workforce development is strengthened through supporting this local resilient built environment economy. There's a number of organizations preserving history through the reuse of buildings, and how financially the money savings can far outweigh the benefits of throwing things away. And keeping that money local, reinvesting within your own community through supporting built environment initiatives. And environmental justice, having people reuse materials instead of having the cost to throw them away, having the ability to buy good quality, very good quality reused materials over throwing things away, not having to always send things away, which tend to impact people of different backgrounds or financial means. And so keeping a lot of these materials in use also works doubly to prevent negative impacts to those that are impacted by these decisions. So I welcome any questions or comments via email, obviously at this time as well. And I just thank you all greatly for being here and participating with us today.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you to all of our speakers, and thank you to everyone joining.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.